The rain had been falling for hours in Havenwood, thick, cold sheets slicing through the empty streets. Inside the Havenwood precinct, Officer Dana Maxwell, a woman whose calm demeanor hid years of weathered experience, was just locking up for the night. Her shift had been long, filled with the usual small-town disputes, and all she craved was the quiet comfort of her own home. But as she reached for the deadbolt, a prickle of unease snaked up her spine, raising the hairs on her arms. It wasn't the cold. It was a premonition, a whisper of something profoundly wrong. She paused, peering out into the flickering glow of the streetlights. At first, it looked like a shadow moving oddly across the street, limping. Then, a sudden, blinding flash of lightning illuminated the scene. Dana froze. It wasn't a shadow. It was a large Labrador, soaked, bleeding, dragging itself forward with a terrifying single-minded purpose. Something was clutched in its jaws. A bundled object, too small for a stick, too deliberate for trash. Dana's heart pounded. Her hand instinctively dropped to her sidearm. Was this dog involved in something dangerous? But there was something in its eyes, a desperate, unwavering purpose, that held her. She flung the door open, ready for anything. The Labrador collapsed right at her feet, the muddy bundle hitting the ground with a wet slap. Then she heard it, a cry, soft, weak, almost drowned out by the storm, a baby's cry. That moment shattered the routine stillness of the small-town station. Within seconds, the night crew swarmed. Guns were drawn. Dana knew. This wasn't just an injured stray. This dog, this courageous, broken animal, had delivered a life. And in his eyes, even as they dulled and closed, she saw a promise kept. The tiny infant was immediately rushed to the nearest hospital. Then attention turned to the dog. He was barely breathing. Officer Jamal Jenkins, a young, empathetic officer, dropped to his knees beside the Labrador, his face streaked with rain and tears. "Oh my God," he gasped. "She's alive, she's alive." At the local vet's office, Dr. Elise Chang's prognosis was grim. The Labrador, now named Rex by the officers, had a compound fracture on his front paw, cracked ribs and a deep gash on his side. "It's a miracle he made it this far," she murmured. "These aren't just random injuries. He's been through hell." The baby, temporarily named Serenity, was equally fragile, barely clinging to life. Doctors confirmed she wouldn't have survived another hour. In the muddy backpack tucked beside a soaked blanket, they found a clean onesie and a pacifier. A stark, unsettling contrast to the baby's emaciated state and the dog's brutalized body. Someone had cared, but not enough to truly save her. Even through sedatives, Rex stirred. When Serenity was briefly brought near him, a soft whine escaped his throat. He nudged his head against the incubator glass, his eyes fixed on the tiny form. It was a silent conversation, a fragile new bond forged in the storm. As dawn broke, a chilling question remained. Where did Rex find her, and who abandoned this innocent life? Officer Dana Maxwell immediately initiated the search for Rex's owner. The call went to Michael Thorne, a former canine officer living an isolated life in a cabin deep in the woods. His voice was monosyllabic, almost too calm. He confirmed the dog, his old partner, was indeed Rex, once known as Shadow, claiming Rex had escaped through a broken fence 3 days prior. He expressed surprise, not genuine concern about Rex's injuries or the baby. A red flag immediately shot up for Dana. Rex had been a decorated canine, known for relentless tracking and unwavering loyalty. He never abandoned a mission. His injuries also contradicted Thorne's story. They looked like he'd been fighting for his life, protecting something. Dana's mind raced. Was this dog somehow involved in a dark secret? The way Rex had appeared, gravely injured yet determined, carrying a child, suggested something far more profound than a simple escape. Havenwood was about to learn that some shadows held far more light than they first appeared. Officer Jamal Jenkins, haunted by the tiny face of baby Serenity, felt a relentless pull. He understood how easily vulnerable individuals could be overlooked by the system. He began meticulously combing through cold cases. He found her. Maria Rodriguez, 16, reported missing 4 months ago. Runaway, case closed due to lack of leads, the file read. But looking at Serenity, her olive skin, curly black hair, estimated to be 3 months old, the similarities to Maria's missing person photo were chilling. Dana, while managing the official investigation, kept a close eye on Rex. The Labrador, though physically healing, was restless, occasionally whimpering. Dana still harbored a flicker of professional suspicion. Was this grief, or was he somehow implicated? One afternoon, Jamal was reviewing Maria's file near Rex's kennel. A photo of Maria slipped from his hand and landed near the bars. Rex, who had been lying still, slowly, deliberately nudged the photo with his nose towards Jamal, then whined softly. Jamal's eyes widened. This wasn't just a dog being a dog. This was a message. The shocking link emerged. Maria Rodriguez had been in Havenwood 3 months ago, and Michael Thorne, Rex's owner, was listed in her last known contacts. Thorne had volunteered at a local food pantry, and Maria had spoken with him privately 3 times. Witnesses said Thorne seemed protective of her. This immediately solidified Dana's suspicion against Thorne. The dirt road leading to Michael Thorne's cabin felt different that morning. Trees closed in tighter, mud caked the cruiser's tires, and a thick fog made the isolated cabin feel ominous. Dana gripped the steering wheel, a cold dread seeping into her bones. Thorne answered her second knock. His face, framed by a graying beard, appeared. His tired eyes held no surprise. "You found the baby," he said flatly. Dana blinked. "Yes, we did. Rex brought her to us. She's alive." Thorne opened the door and invited her in. His calm demeanor was unsettling. He confessed Maria had come to him, scared, pregnant, fleeing an abusive uncle. "She begged me not to call you. Said she trusted me, because Rex was good to her." The mention of Rex struck Dana. The dog, always the dog. The only one who seemed to truly see what others didn't. Thorne then dropped his eyes to the floor. "She didn't make it. Died during labor. Lost too much blood. I panicked. Buried her behind the cabin." He painted himself as a good Samaritan overwhelmed by tragedy. "She asked me to protect her daughter." "So Rex did." Thorne's voice dropped to a near whisper. "Rex was with her when she died. He stayed by her side, whining, pushing at her. He even tried to bring me her water bottle. After she was gone, Rex just lay there for a long time, but then he started trying to pull at the backpack. He wouldn't leave the crawl space. He pulled the bag out himself, like he knew, like he remembered a promise his human couldn't keep. Rex wasn't just a hero, he was a silent, grieving witness, burdened by a truth Thorne tried to bury. That afternoon, the grim task began. Behind Thorne's cabin, a shallow mound of earth, barely hidden beneath leaves and stones, lay a grave without a name, without a date. Forensic teams exhumed the body, confirming it was Maria Rodriguez, who had recently given birth. DNA would later confirm she was Serenity's mother. Michael Thorne was taken into custody without resistance. He sat in the patrol car, staring out the window, completely devoid of emotion. No tears, no remorse, just a chilling blankness. The initial charges were failure to report a death, unlawful burial, endangerment of a child. But for Dana, it felt too neat, too simple for a man who had left a baby to die and lied about his dog's whereabouts. Back at the precinct, Rex, now recovering, was hailed as a hero. His photo made the front page and donations poured in. But Rex remained restless, occasionally whimpering, his gaze fixed on the window. Dana visited him. "You found her," she whispered, her voice thick with regret. "And you brought her back. We should have listened to you sooner." She now understood. Rex wasn't just bringing a baby, he was sounding an alarm for a deeper truth. Baby Serenity, Isabella Serenity Rodriguez, was placed in emergency foster care. Nurse Clara Davies, the compassionate woman who first fed her, requested to adopt her. "When I looked into her eyes," Clara told the caseworker, "I felt like she'd been through a war she didn't remember, but Rex did. And he was still fighting it." Rex's story had gone viral, bringing Havenwood unexpected national attention. But beneath the headlines, a deeper truth festered. A truth only Rex truly understood. Officer Jamal Jenkins, a quiet observer, noticed Rex's behavior. The Labrador, though physically healing, carried a profound, almost human trauma. He'd sometimes whimper in his sleep, his legs twitching. Jamal wondered if dogs could suffer from PTSD. Rex's ritualistic behavior intensified. Every evening, he would rise, limp to the kennel door and whine softly, his gaze fixed towards the direction of Thorne's cabin. It wasn't just grief, it was a demand, a silent insistence that there was more to be done. While the community celebrated Rex as a rescuer, they missed the warning. Rex wasn't just bringing a baby, he was sounding an alarm. Jamal, unlike others, began to pay closer attention. Whenever Michael Thorne's name was mentioned near Rex, the dog would subtly try to get Jamal's attention. nudging a specific map of the area with his nose, or gazing intently towards the remote direction of the cabin. It was as if Rex was trying to give him directions, urging him to look deeper. Jamal understood. Rex was burdened with untold knowledge. Mid-March, a chilling new clue emerged. Marcus Chen, a local hunter, came into the Havenwood precinct with a strange find from the woods near Thorne's cabin. A bundle of soiled clothes, a disposable phone, and a torn plastic grocery bag containing medical gloves, wipes, and dried blood. Marcus described them as being half-buried, like someone tried to hide them. Officer Dana Maxwell immediately dispatched her team. They brought in trained search dogs, but the animals struggled, confused by the rain-soaked earth. This only strengthened Dana's belief in Rex's unique abilities. She brought Rex to the site. As soon as Rex arrived, a palpable change came over him. He bypassed the other search dogs and handlers, and with a low growl pulled his leash from Jamal's hand. He limped purposefully to a specific patch of trees, sat down, looked back at Dana, and then began to paw at the earth with an urgency that couldn't be ignored. He wasn't tracking. He was leading. They dug for 3 hours. Beneath the tangled roots they unearthed another shallow grave. But this time it wasn't a body. It was a water-damaged wooden chest. Inside, crumpled photographs, faded letters, and a notebook wrapped in plastic. The notebook was Maria's journal. It revealed not just her pregnancy, but a horrifying pattern. Maria had been groomed by Thorne, offered safety from an abusive home, but then subtly imprisoned. Her entries grew desperate. He said he'd help me get out. He said he'd protect me, but the doors are always locked now. He watches me. And I'm not the only one. I heard whispers. It was a chilling twist. Maria's final entry spoke directly to Rex. Rex is the only one I believe. He sleeps with his head on my belly now. He knows. I hope he can tell someone. Rex was Maria's last confidant, a silent witness to a truth far darker than anyone imagined. Captain Dana Maxwell reread Maria's notebook 3 times. The words, filled with fear and desperation, painted a horrifying picture of systemic entrapment. She began digging through old reports, group home complaints, missing teen files, anonymous abuse tips. All dismissed, all ignored. One name kept appearing. Michael Thorne. He'd been listed as a community volunteer on multiple caseworker reports. How had no one noticed? Why had he targeted Maria? Dana found the answers. Phone records showed Thorne had called the group home's director multiple times, discussing placement options for vulnerable teens. The director, a complacent, greedy figure, had looked the other way, accepting donations from Thorne for the benevolent care he was offering. A system designed to protect had become complicit. That evening, Dana went to Rex's kennel. The Labrador was restless, pacing. Dana looked at his weary eyes, at the scar on his paw, at the way he still listened, even when no human was speaking. "You knew," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "You tried to tell us. We should have listened from the start." She unpinned her badge, holding it. "Guess we got the badge on the wrong one all along," she murmured, a profound sense of humility washing over her. Dana immediately reopened Maria's case, and 6 other missing teen files from surrounding counties. All had ties to the same group home and had interacted with Thorne. The truth was darker than anyone had imagined. Maria hadn't just been abandoned. She had been systematically entrapped, silenced, her voice buried. But Rex, the loyal Labrador, didn't let that happen. He carried her voice, her truth, in his very being. Baby Serenity was placed in the loving care of Nurse Clara Davies. Rex, now almost fully recovered, received a national award, but his attention remained fixed on Serenity. He would nudge her tiny hand, as if to say, "I kept my promise. You are safe now." The investigation, now dubbed Phase 2, stretched far beyond Havenwood. Captain Dana Maxwell and her team coordinated with 3 other counties, deep diving into group home systems. It was tedious, but then, 2 of the group homes they were investigating abruptly closed. Too convenient, Dana knew, a clear sign of panic. And Rex, resting by Jamal's desk, let out a sharp, knowing whine. Rex knew it too. Serenity, though thriving with Clara, still woke up crying in the early hours. Only when Rex was brought into her room, lying beside her crib, did she calm. "He seems to know what she's seeing," Clara told Dana. "He'll whine, then nose at her, as if telling her it's okay, like he's fighting her monsters." One restless night, Dana was poring over old crime scene photos of Thorne's cabin, a nagging detail catching her eye. a faint discoloration on a cellar wall. Suddenly, Rex, who had been sleeping soundly beside her, nudged a paw at the photo, then stood, walking to the kennel door, looking at Dana with an intense, knowing gaze. He wasn't just reacting to the photos, he was directing her. His eyes were telling a story. Armed with a new, broader warrant, Dana and a forensic team returned to Thorne's isolated cabin. This time Rex was with them. He limped directly to the trapdoor to the cellar. He wasn't merely tracking, he was guiding them. Upon entering, Rex ignored the main area. He walked directly to a specific section of the concrete wall, a section that looked normal to the human eye. But Rex began to whine, his nose pressed firmly against it, pawing at the baseboard with an urgency that couldn't be ignored. A thermal scanner confirmed it immediately, a hidden compartment. The hidden compartment was revealed, a false wall behind which was a small windowless room. The air was stale, heavy with despair. It wasn't just a hiding place, it was a prison. Inside, a grimy mattress, a rusty bucket, worn blankets, half-eaten moldy food, old children's books, and a broken baby monitor. And in one corner, scratched into the plaster, tiny marks, dozens of them, tally marks. Someone had been keeping track of days, years perhaps. Children's drawings, hastily taped to the wall, depicted stick figures with sad faces, some reaching for a window that didn't exist. But the worst part came from a dusty wooden box by the door, sealed in a Ziploc bag. Inside, more letters. Letters written by other girls, some dated back over a year. One included a photo of a different infant, one no one recognized. Another had a crudely drawn map hinting at other remote locations. The words were heartbreaking. A letter from a girl named Maya dated a year prior. "If you find this, please tell my mom I didn't leave her. He said he'd help me get out. He lied. He brought others here. I don't know what day it is. I'm scared. My baby is almost here." This directly linked Thorne to a wider, horrifying human trafficking ring. Captain Dana Maxwell felt a cold rage settle in her gut. All those years, those missing girls, dismissed as runaways, all those quiet pleas. And all the while a monster was operating in plain sight, sanctioned by systemic neglect. She radioed the station, her voice tight with fury. "Get a federal task force here immediately. We're no longer dealing with a single case. This is systematic, and it's far from over." Rex lay outside the hidden room, his breathing steady, his gaze fixed on the entrance. He wasn't excited. He was satisfied. Like a puzzle finally solved. Like a truth finally revealed. Dana looked at him, tears welling in her eyes. He saw it all. He knew it all. And we were too blind to listen. Not long after the horrifying discovery at Thorne's cabin, a young woman named Lena Carter, now 21, contacted Captain Dana Maxwell. Lena had been part of the same group home where Maria Rodriguez once lived. They met at a diner, Rex sitting calmly beside Dana's booth. Lena's eyes widened when she saw the Labrador. "That dog," she whispered. "I remember him. I saw him once, outside the food pantry. I was with Maria. You knew her. She was my roommate. We were close." Lena spoke with a tremor in her voice, but a fierce resolve in her eyes. "We all knew something was off. The way he looked at the girls. The way the staff let him take people out without questions." Lena admitted she almost went with Thorne once, but Maria had warned her. Maria said something was off. She said the dog, Rex, was acting strange whenever Thorne was around. Said Rex seemed to warn her. Lena had faked being sick. Maria went instead. "Every day since," Lena whispered, "I've wondered if I should have screamed. If I should have done more." As Lena spoke, Rex, resting his head on Dana's lap, occasionally lifted his head and looked at Lena, a soft whine escaping his throat, as if acknowledging her pain. Her bravery. Lena's testimony, combined with the irrefutable evidence from the hidden room, broke the wall of silence. Other survivors, now adults, stepped forward, their voices trembling but resolute. Girls who had been dismissed as runaways, or whose cases had been quietly closed, now found their truth in Maria's journal, in Rex's journey, in the tally marks on a hidden wall. Thorne's trial began, and though Rex could not speak, his presence was profoundly felt. A large solemn photo of Rex stood on an easel beside the prosecution table. The judge referred to him as the silent witness in his opening remarks. Dana, seeing the profound bond between Rex and Serenity, made a heartfelt decision. She officially adopted Rex into Clara Davies' home, ensuring he would always be with the baby he saved. It wasn't just about giving him a home, it was about honoring his sacrifice. The day the adoption was finalized, Serenity, who was now learning to talk, pointed at Rex and whispered her first clear word. "Rex." Rex adjusted quickly to his new home with Clara in Serenity, following her everywhere like a second heartbeat. He seemed to sense her dreams, whimpering if she stirred, nudging her if she seemed distressed. He was her constant, silent guardian. Michael Thorne's trial began in early July. His lawyer desperately tried to claim Maria's death was natural, that Thorne was a compassionate man overwhelmed by tragedy. But the prosecution had overwhelming evidence: the hidden room, the chilling letters from other victims, and Maria's own words. Her final journal entry was read aloud by a victim advocate, her voice thick with emotion. "I think the baby will come soon. I'm scared, but I feel okay when Rex is near. He sleeps with his head by my belly. He knows. I hope one day someone reads this and knows I tried, that I loved her." The courtroom was silent, tears streaming down faces. The jury returned swiftly. Guilty on all counts: kidnapping, unlawful imprisonment, multiple counts of child exploitation and obstruction of justice. The judge gave the maximum sentence: life in prison without the possibility of parole, a sentence that echoed the lives Thorne stole and shattered. There were no cheers, only a profound sense of quiet, somber relief. Justice had been served, but it couldn't undo the grief. But it did plant a seed of truth, a chance for healing, a place to begin again. That fall, Captain Dana Maxwell received an anonymous envelope. Inside, an old, faded photograph of Maria Rodriguez, smiling faintly, holding a puppy, a tiny Labrador, unmistakably Rex. On the back, a single line: "She found him before he found her." Maybe that's how it always works. It was a final, poignant twist, a reminder that the bonds of love and protection can form in the most unexpected ways. Clara eventually hung Maria's photo in Serenity's nursery, adding it to a wall now filled with pictures: Serenity's first smile, her first crawl, her first birthday. In every photo, Rex appeared, never in the center, never posed, just there, a quiet witness, a constant. Rex was Serenity's shadow, always nearby, listening, protecting. Clara often watched them, whispering, "You know more than any of us, don't you, boy? You're her guardian angel with 4 paws." Officer Jamal Jenkins, inspired by Rex and Serenity, transferred to a specialized child protection unit. He visited Clara's home often, bringing treats for Rex. "He taught me to listen beyond the words," Jamal told Clara, nodding at Rex. "That sometimes the most important stories are told in silence." Captain Dana Maxwell, now promoted, gave a powerful speech at her swearing-in, not about crime rates, but about the profound responsibility of listening, especially to those who are often dismissed or unheard. She ended with a quote: "In a world full of noise, Rex heard what no one else did. He didn't bark for attention, he barked for truth. And because he did, we learned that silence can be the loudest cry for help." The town of Havenwood, once oblivious, now embraced its new reality. A memorial was unveiled in City Park. A life-sized bronze sculpture of a Labrador standing tall, a small, worn backpack grasped gently in his mouth. A plaque read, "To those who listened when it mattered, to the voiceless, the lost, the brave, and to Rex, the dog who carried them home." Serenity, now a toddler, reached up and hugged the bronze paw, as if recognizing an old friend. Maria's name was engraved beneath the statue, but so was Rex's, not as a pet, but as a partner, as a voice, as the reason the silence finally broke. Serenity grew up never truly remembering the storm, but she has flashes, shadows, the sound of rain, and a comforting warmth beside her. It's not a memory but a feeling of absolute safety that came from somewhere deep within. When asked about the dog, her face lights up. She doesn't need memories, she has Rex, etched into her very being. As Serenity entered kindergarten, Rex began to slow, his steps heavier, his silver muzzle deepening. One quiet evening, after Clara read to Serenity, Rex nudged the blanket over Serenity's chest with his nose, then sighed, a long, peaceful exhale, as if he knew his watch was done. He had seen her safe, seen her loved, seen her thriving. The next morning, Rex passed away peacefully, curled by Serenity's crib, his head on his paws, a silent sentinel, even in death. The Serenity, though too young to fully comprehend, reached down, kissed Rex on the head and whispered, "Thank you, Rex." Then walked to the window, opening the curtain, letting in the morning light, a symbol of hope continuing. The town held a small, intimate memorial for Rex, leaving candles, toys, leashes at the base of his statue. No reporters, just genuine gratitude from a community forever changed. Rex's ashes were kept in a cedar box beneath the mural at Serenity House, a crisis center built on the site of the old group home. He wasn't just a dog anymore. He was a symbol, a guardian, a story they told when kids asked, "Can anyone really care about someone like me?" Yes, the staff would say, someone once did. Even when no one else listened. Serenity, now a teenager, volunteered at Serenity House, bringing Rex's old, worn collar as a reminder. She never told her full story right away, but the children felt it in how she listened, how she knelt to a child's level, how she said, "I'm here, you're safe," the way Rex had taught her. On what would have been Rex's 15th birthday, Clara gave Serenity a small, unopened envelope from Captain Maxwell. Inside, Maria's photo with young Rex, and a note, "For Serenity. So you know what love looked like before you could see it, and to remind you, every voice matters, even the ones that have no sound." Serenity, tearfully, held the photo, a new piece of her mother's story, found. Serenity eventually became a social worker, dedicating her life to helping vulnerable youth, because Rex had once carried her into the arms of a future, and she wanted to do the same for someone, someday. Her framed quote on her desk, "Sometimes the loudest cry for help comes with no sound at all." She tells children about Rex not as a hero, but as a friend. A friend who reminded her that courage comes in many forms, and love, in its purest form, always listens. So Havenwood found its voice, all because of a Labrador named Rex. His story isn't just about a brave dog, it's about the power of instinct, the profound truth found in silence, and the unbreakable bond between those who listen and those who desperately need to be heard. Rex never made the evening news again, but his story lived on in whispers, in bedtime tales, in classrooms, in quiet corners of shelters across the country. And maybe, just maybe, he sparked a few more ears to listen when no one else would. Thank you for walking alongside Rex, Maria, Serenity, and everyone whose life was touched by one moment of courage in a storm. Their journey reminds us, sometimes heroes don't speak, they simply show up exactly when we need them most. We hope this story resonated with you. If it did, please consider subscribing to our channel for more true stories of courage, loyalty, and inspiration. Hit that like button if Rex's bravery moved you, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear. When was the last time you truly listened? Not just with your ears, but with your heart. Until next time, keep listening, keep believing, and never underestimate the power of a silent witness.